It's Friday, March 18th, and this is your coffee break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, bringing you the latest local news and a roundup of this week's top stories. Mike Suppy joins us later at the sports desk, and Donna Lang takes a look back on this day in history. But first, the first day of spring could have Connecticut getting slammed by a nor'easter on Sunday. The National Weather Service says snow should begin accumulating Sunday evening and overnight as temperatures cool below freezing. Based on the trends in all guidance, highest totals are currently forecasted east of New York City metro area, across Long Island and southern Connecticut. The National Weather Service says 3 to 7 inches are possible, mostly falling Sunday night into Monday morning. It says snow is likely afternoon on Sunday. But for now, though, we'll just today be dealing with a chance of showers, mainly after 4 p.m., but things do get a little bit colder as we move on, but we'll talk more about that later. Into some other news today, a tractor trailer near Nichols School in Stratford caught on fire Thursday evening. Stratford firefighters worked to extinguish the fire on the truck at about 8 o'clock at night. Smoke from the fire ended up getting inside the school, but there were reportedly no injuries. It was not immediately clear on Thursday evening what caused the fire. A portion of Nichols Avenue was closed as firefighters worked the scene. The school was ventilated, but Stratford School Superintendent Janet Robinson said yesterday that the smoke smell should be gone and classes would go on as normal today. According to the Valley Independent Sentinel, a 73-year-old man has been sentenced to 9 years in prison for shooting his neighbor. The Indy reports that 2 years ago, a 5-year-old Ansonia girl bounced out of her bed like she did every Easter Sunday, eager to hunt for eggs hidden overnight by the Easter Bunny. Instead, she saw her 73-year-old next-door neighbor force his way into her family's home and nearly shoot her father to death. She hasn't been able to get a good night's sleep since. On Thursday, a judge sentenced the man responsible for the crime to 9 years behind bars. Before handing down the sentence to Stephen Sentimentis, Milford Superior Court Judge Frank Iannotti said he was almost at a loss for words trying to understand the shooting that played out on April 20th, 2014. The shooting was motivated by a dispute over water running off from the neighbor's property onto Cementis' property. In November, he pleaded guilty under the Alford Doctrine to first-degree assault and risk of injury to a minor. According to police, Sentimentis' 39-year-old next-door neighbor was sitting in front of his house on Easter morning when Sentimentis came by unannounced and then shot him. The victim ran into the house and Sentimentis gave chase and kept shooting, hitting his neighbor in the buttocks, left leg, and right calf. There's a lot more on that story at valleyindy.org. And Ridgefield High School Principal Stacy Gross says she is concerned about drug and alcohol use among her students. Gross wrote a letter to parents last Thursday saying in part, "You may be aware that over the past few months there has been a considerable increase in incidents involving student use and distribution of alcohol and drugs, leading to multiple suspensions and expulsions." She went on to say, "We have observed these behaviors at athletic events, extracurricular activities, and more recently occurring during the school day." She went on to say that these occurrences have required joint interactions with the Ridgefield and neighboring towns' police departments, as well as with the Ridgefield and neighboring towns' emergency medical services. In an interview last Friday, Gross said she simply felt it was time for her to speak out. She was, however, reluctant to give a specific number for the incidents that have required disciplinary proceedings. In the letter, Gross also said that it's frightening to see the risky behaviors in which many of the students are participating, and she shares with confidence that the behavior does not discriminate. Many students struggle with the dynamics of peer relationships, peer pressure, and individual decision-making. She said later that she hoped her words would shake parents who might be complacent, and she also reminded them that experimentation and risk-taking are standard aspects of teenage behavior. And in Milford, it was lights, camera, and action on the green Wednesday when Christy Romano Rooney, also known as Christy Carlson Romano, an actress and singer best known for her role as Ren Stevens on the television series Even Stevens, as well as the voice of Kim Possible and a host of other roles, shot portions of her new movie in downtown Milford. Even though it's March, the area around the gazebo looked like Christmas, with holiday lights and a Christmas tree, not to mention some hauled-in snow. Some of Milford's holiday lights were still on downtown trees, too, kept in place a little bit longer than usual to help with the set. According to IMDb, Romano, who grew up in Milford, is directing her first movie set to be released this year. She can't reveal the name of the movie yet, according to Jarrett First, a line producer, who said for now it can be called Christy Carlson Romano's Christmas Project. The screenplay was written by George Saunders and Jake Barnes, according to IMDb, and it's described as a comedy family movie in which a mischievous, swag-obsessed boy must overcome his inner Scrooge or remain caught in a cycle where every day is Christmas without presents. But you can get more photos and more information at milfordmirror.com. School officials expanded rules prohibiting the use of tobacco at Joel Barlow High School, officially adding vaporizer delivery devices to a list of disallowed products. Such devices were ostensibly disallowed before the rule change, as any tobacco or nicotine-related product is banned from Barlow. School officials said they've confiscated 1 e-cigarette, a self-contained device, and 5 vapes, which are refillable devices, over the last 2 years. Board members also voted to prohibit the use or possession of legal medical marijuana on school grounds. In Connecticut, medical marijuana is restricted to patients 21 and over, so no student would be legally possessing the products anyway. But we are going to step out for a break now, and when we come back, Mike Seppi joins us at the sports desk. Donald Eng takes a look back on this day in history, and we have some more headlines coming up after this.
Darien Sports Shop is a unique store because it's a family store. A busy mom can come in with kids in tow and find everything she needs for them, and even find a dress for herself for Saturday night. And if she's in a rush, she can simply go home and order it from us that night. We'll deliver it the next day. The Darien Sports Shop. We're pretty on the outside and amazing on the inside. Conveniently located with free and easy parking at 1127 Post Road, Darien, Connecticut. Or shop us online at dariensport.com.
Walter Stewart's Market in New Canaan is your time-saving local shopping destination for the best of spring. Find many of your favorite products, from great specials on everyday items to the freshest organic produce, artisanal cheeses, and grass-fed steaks. Drop off your knives to be sharpened, grab a beautiful bouquet of spring flowers, and stop in next door for a wine tasting. Plus, their personable staff is always ready to lend a helping hand. So stop in to Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street today, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
Had a sports injury that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist quickly. Their highly trained orthopedic professionals expertly treat you without an appointment. Skiing, snowboard, or sports accident, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care open Monday through Saturday in the iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk. Call 203-845-2070 or coastalorthoexpress.com. Find them on Facebook at Coastal Ortho CT.
What's happening up in Hartford and what's trending in the Nutmeg State?
Join Kate Czaplinski
And Josh Fisher
on CT Pulse live Wednesdays at 12:30 to find out.
We talk to the leaders and newsmakers while breaking down the stories you should be paying attention to each week.
With the help of HAN's editorial cartoonist Doug Smith, we take a humorous look at the news of the week. We talk about everything you were told you should avoid bringing up in polite company.
CT Pulse, Wednesdays at 12:30 on the HAN Network.
You are watching the HAN Network, and you're not alone. Nearly 500,000 viewers enjoyed our broadcasts in the first 5 months. Advertise on the network that reaches Fairfield County, Connecticut's most engaged audience. Contact Jessica Murrin, Advertising Director, at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
We're back on this Friday edition of Your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, and it's time to throw it to Donald Eng's look back on this day in history. Check it out.
In an economic sense, 73 led to 55. I'll tell you about it in a second. But first, we're going to go back to 1850. Henry Wells, William Fargo, and John Butterfield combined their express mail delivery services and passenger stagecoach companies to form American Express. 2 years later, also on this date, Butterfield opposed expanding the service to California, and Wells and Fargo formed another company that they simply named after themselves. 1892, former Canadian Governor General Frederick Stanley, the Lord of Derby, pledges to donate a silver challenge cup to be awarded as a prize to the best hockey team in Canada. Today, the Stanley Cup is considered by many the most coveted and difficult to win trophy in all of sports. 1990, Boston, Massachusetts, the largest art theft in U.S. history. 12 paintings, collectively worth about $300 million, stolen from the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum in Boston. Among the stolen works was Storm on the Sea of Galilee, Rembrandt's only known seascape. The crime remains unsolved. And finally, now we go to 1974 for this.
Good evening. The Middle East War produced developments all over the world today. The oil-producing countries of the Arab world decided to use their oil as a political weapon. They will reduce oil production by 5% a month until the Israelis withdraw from occupied territories. If the Arab countries keep that pledge, it would reduce their production by almost 50% in 1 year. There were diplomatic maneuvers at the United Nations, in Washington, and in Cairo. And there is a savage and possibly decisive tank battle raging in the Sinai Desert. The decision to cut back on oil production as a weapon against Israel was taken at a meeting in Kuwait, which was attended by the Syrians and the Egyptians as well. Less Arab oil won't hurt the United States much, but it will pose quite severe problems for the Japanese and especially for the West Europe.
Yes, that was the beginning of the 1973 OPEC oil embargo. The embargo ended on this day, and by the time it did, I doubt very many Americans would have agreed with Mr. Chancellor there that it didn't affect them much. The embargo resulted in the price of a barrel of oil rising from $3 to more than $12. It also, among other things, spelled the end of the muscle car era, long gas lines, and the implementation of the national 55-mile-per-hour speed limit. That is your look back in history, and I am Donald Ng.
Thanks so much to Don. And before we throw it over to sports, just going to take a little more detailed of a look at your weekend forecast. Today, there is a chance of showers mainly after 5 o'clock, increasing clouds, but there will be a high of 56 degrees, so not bad. Tonight, a chance of showers before 9 p.m., mostly clear with a low around 30. Saturday, sunny, high near 42 degrees, wind chill values between 25 and 35. Saturday night, there is a slight chance of snow, though not much of one. It will be partly cloudy with a low around 26. But then on Sunday, snow is on the way for the first day of spring. Accumulation amounts are still changing. Snow could start after 1 o'clock in the afternoon, accumulation of about an inch possible. But Sunday night is when things are forecasted to pick up. There will be a low around 29 degrees, and we could see anywhere from 6 inches to maybe more. But as we said, that's still changing. We'll see what happens. We're going to throw it now to Mike Suppy, who's filling in at the sports desk.
Thanks, Kate. Well, the run to the sun in boys basketball was completed last night as Hillhouse High rounded out the bracket by routing Danbury 66-45 at Crosby High in Waterbury. The boys state finals will take place at Mohegan Sun Arena starting on Saturday. In Class M, Notre Dame of Fairfield will face unbeaten Sacred Heart at 3, followed by the S final at 6:15, where Immaculate High of Danbury will take on Coggeshall. The nightcap features a pair of CCC heavyweights as East Catholic tangles with Middletown High. Hillhouse and Weaver will meet in the Class L title game on Sunday at 5:30, capping off championship weekend at Mohegan Sun. And due to that aforementioned impending inclement weather, the girls' basketball finals at the casino have been affected. Greenwich and Stanford's Class L final, originally set for 3 p.m. on Sunday, is now flip-flopping with the Class L final between Capital Prep and New London. The Whalers and the Trailblazers are now slotted for the 3 p.m. game, while Big Red and the Black Knights will tip at 12:30 to give some driving buffer there. The other two girls' championships will be played on Saturday, with the Class S final between Thomaston and Canton getting underway at 10 a.m., followed by the Class M final between Cromwell and Notre Dame of Fairfield. The hockey state finals will also be contested this weekend at Yale's Ingalls Rink. The Division II final between number 2 seed Fairfield Co-op and top seeded North Branford, they'll face off tonight at 7:30 p.m. at Ingalls Rink. Tomorrow morning, Staples Weston Shelton and West Hill Stanford will lock horns at 10 a.m., followed by Darien and Fairfield Prep in the Division I title game at 2. And speaking of Yale, well, the Bulldogs, they won their first ever NCAA tournament game yesterday at the Dunkin' Donuts Center up in Providence. Behind 31 points from Mackay Mason and 10 from Stratford High grad Brendan Sherrod, number 12 seed Yale took down 5th seed Baylor 79-75. UConn was also in action yesterday in the NCAA tournament, rallying from a 9-point deficit to defeat Colorado 74-67. And the Huskies' former Big East rival, Providence, they also won their first NCAA game in 2 decades, rallying past USC 70-69. New London's own Chris Dunn scored 16 points for the Friars, who got a last-second layup from Rodney Bullock to steal the victory away from the Trojans. With sports, I'm Mike Suppy.
All right, thanks so much, Mike. Well, getting back to a little more news today, according to the Milford Mirror, more than 50 people will be laid off from work when Milford's Expect Discounts, located on the Boston Post Road, is expected to close on March 26th. According to a notice posted on the State Department of Labor website, 52 workers at the Milford Expect store will be laid off from their jobs as of April 1st, giving them time to pack up the store after the final day of sales. The parent company of Expect is also closing its store in Cromwell, Connecticut, affecting 61 workers there, and in East Haven, affecting 65 workers. The company previously closed stores in Danbury, North Haven, and Derby. The parent chain's Mark's operates 58 grocery stores in Ohio. And though there is snow on the way, there are a few signs of spring about. After a long wait, Darien High School Pavilion Concession Kitchen is finally open for business. Last weekend was its opening weekend, with the vendor of choice being Vivala's, a popular deli in Darien that has been a mainstay of the community for over 40 years. The new pavilion is currently open on weekends from 9 to 5. Jen Montanaro and a team of others at the Darien Athletic Foundation put together a proposal and recommendation about how to best use the facilities at the pavilion and submitted that to the Board of Education, who then bid out the job to community businesses. Ultimately, Vivala's was the choice, and they have a 1-year lease with a chance for renewal. Some of the youth sports were using the stadium field opening weekend, and the deli was pleased with the reception it received. With the spring athletics season at the high school set to kick off and spring youth sport leagues now getting into gear as well, business at the pavilion is set to boom as all the fields at the high school are set to see nearly around-the-clock use on the weekends. But there's more on that at DarienTimes.com. We're going to step out for a break, and when we come back, we're going to recap some of the top stories this week on the HAN Network coming up after this.
Can't wait for it to get warmer so you can start fishing again? Get over to the Dock Shop, where they have the latest in fishing tackle, marine electronics, boating supplies, and more. But remember, the Dock Shop isn't your average tackle shop. You'll also find the finest selection of nautical apparel, jewelry, home decor, and gifts in New England. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, dockshop.com.
Here at the Organic Yard, we use bionutritional products in our lawn care programs, which reduces the need for fertilizers, nitrates, phosphates, and pesticides up to 80%, making a safer environment for your family and pets. With our organic lawn treatment, you'll receive vigorous, healthy plants with improved root development and better drought resistance. Enroll now in our 2016 Organic Yard program and get a free organic deer tick treatment. Call us today at 914-764-5491 or go to our website at millerslandscapinginc.com.
Alberto Londano Professional Painting, Wallpapering, and Carpentry has been serving Fairfield County for over 20 years. Based in Norwalk, Alberto takes pride in his work by offering you only the best quality service and products. Call Alberto today to get a free estimate and be one step closer to a new and exciting home makeover. 203-866-9635.
Hi, I'm Rob Adams with my good friend Donald Eng, and we're the home team for Nutmeg Sports, Monday through Wednesday at 2 o'clock right here on the HAN Network. We are the place for all things Connecticut sports, so come hang out with us on Nutmeg Sports. Don? They don't call him the best color man in the game for nothing. Nutmeg Sports, 2 o'clock, Monday through Wednesday right here on the HAN Network.
We're back on this Friday edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, and we're recapping some of the top stories across all of our websites this week, including tragic news in Monroe. A local teen was killed Monday in a one-vehicle crash in the vicinity of 295 Garter Road. According to reports, a 2004 GMC Envoy traveling east went off the road, struck a pole, and rolled over shortly after 9:30 at night. The driver and lone occupant, later identified as 19-year-old Sarah Squinaball of Benedict Road, was partially ejected from the vehicle. Squinaball was pronounced dead at the scene, and police are continuing to investigate. More information at MonroeCourier.com. And another big story this week, a father who abducted his son in Trumbull last Saturday remains at large, though the child is home safely. After an Amber Alert was issued and a 12-hour search ensued on Saturday, 7-year-old Ariel Ravello was found safe in Queens around 5 o'clock. A warrant has been issued for the boy's father, Rodolfo Ravello, a convicted cocaine seller, for charges of kidnapping, strangulation, assault, among others. Saturday evening, police said that Rodolfo Ravello called Trumbull police and told them he was leaving his son with a relative. Ravello, who's 43 years old, was not located and his whereabouts are still unknown. Police said that Ravello forcibly entered his wife's home on Unity Road in Trumbull at about 4:30 a.m. last Saturday and assaulted her before snatching his 7-year-old son. According to a report, Ravello went to retrieve a knife from the kitchen during that break-in but was disarmed by his 17-year-old stepson. During that time period, the wife was able to escape by jumping out of her bedroom window and hiding in the yard. And in other news this week, the video of a Darien teen brandishing a firearm and shouting taunts posted on the social media group Snapchat has been obtained by the Darien Times. The teen was arrested on March 4th after Darien police and school administrators learned of the video. He has been held at the Bridgeport Juvenile Youth Detention Facility since he was taken into custody. His name has not been released because of his age. In the brief video obtained by the Times from an anonymous source, the young man can be seen waving a handgun around while wearing a bandana to cover his face. He uses profanity and racial slurs during the 9-second clip, which was posted on the social media network Snapchat in a private group in early March. The sound, of course, was removed due to the prevalence of profanity. Police said the handgun displayed in the video is a real firearm, which has not yet been recovered. After police were made aware of the video on March 4th, the school resource officer assigned to Darien High identified the student suspected of being involved and contacted him and spoke with him in an office at the school. Police said at that point he became combative and was taken into custody. And another story that got a lot of interest this week, New Canaan resident and 2015 petitioning candidate for First Selectman Michael Nowacki has filed a lawsuit in federal court that, among other things, seeks punitive and compensatory damages from First Selectman Rob Malazzi and his executive assistant Pam Flynn for allegedly violating his constitutional rights. In a verified complaint filed in U.S. District Court in Bridgeport on March 10th, Nowacki claims that Malazzi and Flynn violated his rights to freedom of debate and assembly by not participating in a candidates debate in advance of the November election and not responding to his request to use town hall meeting space for televised candidate forums. Further, the complaint alleges that Malazzi violated Nowacki's 14th Amendment right to equal protection by delivering a State of the Town address at a no-fee access League of Women Voters event after he refused to participate in a candidate forum with Nowacki. Much more on that story at ncadvertiser.com. And in Milford, many readers were interested to hear that an Asian supermarket called New York Mart with a food court is planned for the location of the former M&M Farms at 804 Boston Post Road, following an 8-2 approval by the Planning and Zoning Board at its March meeting. This location puts the new store in direct competition with Lin Asian Food Market, located nearby at 532 Boston Post Road. Architect Raymond Oliver made the presentation on behalf of the owners, who have 17 stores in New York, Pennsylvania, and Massachusetts. The plan needed a special exception due to a planned 65 parking spaces when 103 are required, and due to the presence of a food court plus a basement storage area. The P&Z also approved the project's site plan. And finally, while the FCX season is done, our Athlete of the Week voting is not. The HAN Network sports editors and broadcasters have nominated 19 male and female athletes for the Winter Week 13 HAN FCX Athletes of the Week. You can check out those nominees and vote for your male and female picks at HAN.network. Winners announced Monday on Nutmeg Sports. We're going to take another quick look at the forecast today. Not so bad, though there is a chance of showers mainly after 5 o'clock. Increasing clouds with a high near 56 degrees. Tonight, mostly clear, but it gets colder, a low around 30 degrees. Saturday goes back up a little bit. Sunny, high near 42 degrees, but wind chill values between 25 and 30. On Saturday night, there's a slight chance of snow, partly cloudy with a low around 26 degrees. Now, Sunday could be a big game changer. The first day of spring could see some significant snow moving into the area starting later Sunday afternoon and into the evening. Still not sure about accumulations yet, but right now the National Weather Service is saying about 6 inches possible, and this is going Sunday night into Monday morning. So we'll see what happens. There could be a stormcast. We don't know. But finally, one last thing we're going to look at. Greg Riley from the New Canaan Advertiser shot some great video in Fairfield yesterday. If you didn't get a chance to celebrate St. Patrick's Day, here's a little clip. The Lenehan School of Irish Dance had a performance at Brennan's Sheben Bar and Grill at Smith Richardson Golf Course in Fairfield. Check it out, and we'll see you next on Monday.